what is the score that he's going to get at the end of the day. Is it true?
It is true, because of course this is someone's future, and they have goals that they're setting and a course that they want to get to, a course that can set them for life. So of course that anxiety can happen, and it's completely natural. The thing though, Mahendra, is that anxiety can increase based on your reason for doing it in the first place.
Yes.
For example, if I fail, will I let everyone down?
Yes.
Or if someone values themselves based on achievement.
Yes.
So for example, if I don't pass, am I a sort of an inadequate human being? Am I not worthy?
Yes.
In other words, happiness or core happiness is
self-esteem takes a blow.
Exactly. Core happiness is dependent on achievement, and that's a concern.
Yeah.
And the third way it can suffer is things like Facebook, where you compare to your mates. So you don't think you did well, and then you scroll down Facebook and you see this one smiling and this one's happy.
Other people's achievements, your comparison between yours and theirs.
That's right. And the last thing is, of course, the stereotype that it's university or nothing. That if I don't make university, then I'm a failure. But there are many ways to skin a cat.
Absolutely.
If you want to be going to the culinary field, then you go to hotel school. If you want to be a pilot, then go to pilot school.
Exactly.
But there's this, like I say, this old stereotype that if you don't make university, I've failed. There are many ways to skin a cat.
And then we have our technicons that offer bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, B.Techs, M.Techs, etc.
Exactly.
So it's not just the university is not the be-all and the end-all.
That's right.
Now, let's talk about the anxiety that leads to depression.
Yeah.
Because of the fear of failure.
Yeah, fear of failure is of course a common thing, and with lack of support, with not allowing yourself to express your feelings, with no people around you, and with no outlet, what can happen, or the reason anxiety does lead to depression is, first you're anxious about thinking about failing all the time. Then there's no mental break or no period of recovery. So day and night you're thinking about that all the time. Then what happens is you're just anxious about being anxious all the time, to the point where it becomes debilitating. And that's where the depression can happen. That's the thing. So the key thing I say to clients when I'm helping them is, what is your internal narrative? What are you saying to yourself every day? Is your self-talk negative? Is your self-talk positive? Did you set goals for yourself? Those kind of things. Do you have a support system? That kind of thing.
What are you listening to? Because sometimes the support system isn't there, or the support system can be actually a negative.
It can be. Or what happens, what I've heard a lot from university students in my time working in a university is that families pin all their hopes on the student. You are the person who's got to bring home the bacon for all of us. And that's a big factor, not just can I pass, but that level of expectation is so big, going forward into that level of pressure. And it's anxiety inducing for sure, and I can understand that. So that's why support is crucial, regardless of the mark, positive or negative, because people have different standards, people have different reactions, different temperaments, so that help is crucial.
Absolutely. So what are the main signs of depression that we need to look for, or anxiety that parents need to look out for?
So in context in this situation is obviously lack of sleep. Difficulty sleeping, worrying all the time, and anxiety because you're constantly worrying about the result. Then not eating or eating too much. Eating too much is a common one, because it's almost a case of sort of comfort eating to cope with the potential result. Obviously feelings of anxiety all the time, and even to the point of depressed mood, because you're not coping. Not doing the activities you used to enjoy, because when we get so preoccupied with something, we don't take our minds off it, and we don't do other things because we're so focused on one thing. So we don't do the things we like to enjoy. Loss of energy, loss of pleasure in the things we used to do.
And we're not attending to that core happiness.
That core happiness. And like I said, the biggest trigger for that is my world revolves around this. I've got nothing else in my life, and happiness is dependent on this. That's a big trigger in terms of what I've heard from students, and level of expectation, those two things.
Okay, so now how should parents handle these kinds of situations?
Okay, so regardless whether the mark is good or not, no impulsive decision straight away. So let's say hypothetically the mark isn't the desired one. No impulsive decision straight away, because when you're in that frame of mind, don't jump to conclusions, let the person breathe and just talk it out. Then a week or two later, then start planning and talking. So you can go back to your school and say, can I get a remark or do a supplementary? Talk about the fact that there are schools where you can do your matric again. Also, so what are your goals in the first place? Although this is your mark, where do you want to go? What is your aptitude? So you at least guide it into the right direction. Persistent, positive talk, so we'll get through this, and just boosting their self-esteem and self-confidence. Request that they minimize Facebook and those types of things, just in terms of comparing to their friends, without a doubt. because that does, I can't see any positives in that really. It is a bit of a risk based on what I've seen.
We don't have too much time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
What are the coping mechanisms that are available to our students, our pupils,
Okay.
our children, and our parents?
Okay, so I'll give psychological places to go, and then I guess my own tips. So the first one is obviously a place like South African depression and anxiety groups, a good place to either do call center counseling or see someone face to face. And the second thing I would say is when you go into university or wherever it is you go, to say to yourself that the percentage that I get is not the be-all and end-all. Yes, it's a good point, but am I growing?
It does not define me.
It doesn't define me. And most importantly, given the South African context, strive to find your voice. So when you read something, don't just think of what the reader thinks, think of what you think. Develop your own voice, meet people of different cultures, races and religions, because there's more to life than just a percentage, even though that is important.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Well put. Thank you very much. That was psychologist Jeremy Bayer joining us in studio talking to us about coping mechanisms. Well, soon matriculants will be entering institutions of higher learning or even choose to join the workforce. Now, skills training and developing is a must.